Stop it. Your jokes are terrible. Welcome to another episode. This is Awakening 101. I'm Jeremiah. And this
is Chaz.
Today, we're talking the Vatican and the deepest, darkest secrets their 50 miles of Gubelar hold.
Gubelars. Never heard of this measurement.
Chaz?
Yes?
The Vatican. How deep are we going?
Apparently deeper than I thought we were going to originally before this morning. But yeah, we're going pretty deep. Apparently because this list that has been compiled that I've been looking through goes from just like history and, you know, a lot of our past as humans to sexual scandals, you know, and
we all know we like sexual scandals.
We do. It's weird.
Thank you for being here. This is going to be awesome because the Vatican has nothing against us. Or does it, actually? There are 50 miles of things, of artifacts, of papers, of knowledge. They might have something on us already.
Debatably a global government.
Global government. Chaz, what do you know about the Vatican?
What I know about the Vatican? Uh-oh. They're going to come after me is what I know.
Honestly, we can't post this video.
No,
we should just stop talking about it right now.
If we were live, we would be jailed for doing it, but we've already been jailed for talking about other stuff, so we can't be jailed for this one yet.
You're right. We have a whole week of not being able to go live because we started talking about stuff they didn't want us talking about.
I can't even say the word out loud. I'm not going to. I don't want to get banned.
We'll get jizzy jammed up in the...
What I know about the Vatican.
What do you know?
All right. I know it's a sovereign nation in Italy, in Rome. So it's its own country. It's not part of Italy.
That sounds normal, right?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Which I thought was like an ancient thing. I thought that has like always been that way.
You would think, right? Like that just they grandfathered in to be their own sovereign country.
That's what I thought.
When did it happen?
1929.
How long ago? You're saying like 1929, like
JP Morgan era? Like the era of all the weird shit that goes on?
So real recent.
Really recent.
Wow.
That it became sovereign like
That's
that.
not even 100 years ago. You know that? They have not hit their 100th anniversary
of
being a sovereign country. Wow.
I think that's when they solidified their like gangster power. You know, like now I've got territory and you can't come in. And then like they are playing to the game of today. If you want to be... I'll just relate it to something political in a sense. You look at Israel, and Israel, people are like, yeah, I mean, they're a nation. They have an army. They have a right to defend themselves. And it's like Palestine. Well, they're not a nation.
Oh.
So what can they do?
They don't have a right to defend themselves?
You're not a nation.
Oh. How do you become a nation?
I know I just spurred up all kinds of controversy on this.
It's like a tornado.
In my opinion, is irrelevant to the conversation other than people do this in modern time. This is like Israel has a nationality. They're a nation. They're seen by us. There's a lot of reason why Donald Trump wasn't supposed to go to North Korea because we didn't want to acknowledge them. We didn't want to acknowledge Kim Jong or whatever the guy. Yeah. Little Rocket Man. I love that. That's what they called it. That one always cracked me up. But anyways, we weren't supposed to acknowledge them. So what did the Vatican learn to do? Let's be a country. Let's have our own sovereign nation. We'll play your game today, people.
Let's go a little deeper with that. If you and I wanted to be a sovereign nation, how do we go about that? How did they become their own nation? Because it's this tiny little... Like it's not even that big, is it? Like I guess the square footage of land
like
does not matter.
100 and something square blocks or square. I don't know, 50 square blocks. But I think it's bigger than that. I think it's like 100. I don't know.
They also have 50 miles of archives and things underground. Does that count? Does that count in their nation?
See, that's my thing. Is like, are they above all of that, or does that go up under other stuff? But like, you don't think the Italian government would know about that?
Into the city, into the...
Correct. And you know what? That makes sense too, because at that point, you could be hiding more than people think you could.
At what point?
Well, I mean, if you have so much information that you're like, guys, y'all are like taking up like the whole city. And you're like, no. We're just like this small area. Don't look underground. We span way outside of our borders underground.
I would assume.
But you don't see that. You only see this one.
See, and that's what I was thinking. It's tiny, right? Like, there's no...
Dude, it's walled in. It's gated. It's all walled. There's a wall around the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, it's within Rome. If Rome is a city the size of whatever, Birmingham, like landmass-wise, okay, people? If that was like... then we have like a nation within Birmingham.
That's weird. That'd be weird. I would question it.
And it was always there for a long time. It's been there for a long time.
Right.
But it's never been a sovereign nation. This is also around the time that Israel was formed, not long after that.
Oh, really?
And a lot of countries, and that was right after World War I, which was like, the Ottoman Empire was before World War I, and then afterwards they were no longer there anymore. So a lot of nations disappeared and sprung up all during this time period. It makes sense for them to be like, we're a nation. We're a nation too, guys.
Just kind of like slid it under the rug.
And you know what? I'm the Pope.
Easy.
So you want to go to heaven? You're going to let me be a nation? You're going to shut the...
Right.
Or I'll send a cardinal on you. You don't want none of that.
A what? A bird?
A bird. They will send the bird.
How many birds do they have to send on you?
I think they got 12 birds.
Wow.
I think there's 12.
Cardinals must be feisty.
12 cardinals. I could be wrong on this, though.
I mean...
I could be wrong on all of this, I guess. It's all controversy and conspiracy. So.
Everything about the Vatican is conspiracy, though, because the only thing is...
Actually, everything we've said is like the only truth you can actually like go legally look up. That it's a sovereign nation.
From here on out, everything else that we say about this...
The Pope lives there.
Complete conspiracy, but feels so
God, I can't even
real.
prove that he lives there.
Where would the Pope live if not?
He didn't always live at the Vatican. He used to have a home off somewhere else. The Vatican was built, and then they slowly started becoming... The popes over time would spend more time there and more time there until eventually it became like their place. And that was a while ago. I mean, it took a while. I mean, the Vatican's been there for like 1,500 damn years, I feel like. So it can do a lot of things.
So they've had that spot for that long? It's curious.
I want to look up real quick to make sure.
When do you think the Vatican was formed?
Because the first pope,
15.
The first pope is said to be 30 years after Jesus died.
Only 30 years after he died?
Or I guess, did he die and then it was 0? Or was he born on 0 or whatever? But it was 30 years after 0. After the year.
Yeah, I don't know when they decided to reset the calendar. Because Jesus dying reset the calendar?
Either
that doesn't make sense to me.
Jesus' birth or his death was 0.
Who decided that? At what point? Like, he wasn't important at his birth. No one knew of his importance, right?
Yeah, that's another problem. Is like, what was the time before that? Yeah,
who decided Jesus was now the reason to change time into a new...
I want to say it was Pope George something. We are on the Gregorian calendar, and this was...
We were on the Gregorian,
I think
right?
we are on the Gregorian. No? Or are we... Was that what we were on? Am I mixing this up? I would need to go look this up. Right on the spot right now. But
you're right. You're
in
right.
the end, though, the Vatican's really kind of the one behind all of this.
It sounds like it.
They're the ones deciding all of the time on that. Clearly, I mean, you think the Jews or the Muslims decided to go off of Jesus's birth or death?
Why would they?
As the time of get the fuck out of here. No. And like the Sumerians have all of their shit with time, and we have sacred time. It's very woven into our universe, so that wouldn't make sense anyways. It's totally fabricated in my head anyways.
So you think someone saw an opportunity and ran with it? Like, I think it happened after the fact.
Yeah, well,
decided on a point.
I thought a lot about this.
It doesn't make sense.
Do you think that day everybody just suddenly agreed it was day 0?
No way.
How could you? There's no mass communication.
Not even a little bit.
No one would even know the year anyways.
Yeah, no, time didn't exist like it does now.
Most people were...
None of the things existed.
Most people never left their village at that time. Most people were, what do you call it when you can't read or write? No one knew shit.
Well, exactly.
No one knew shit.
Getting the word out is definitely going to take time.
So after 500 years... After all of this, the year 500, no one calls it the year 500. That doesn't exist at the time. And they just decided it at that point. And they'll be like, well, Jesus died, what, we said like 500 years ago? Well, then 500 years ago was day zero.
That's more along the lines of how I think it would have happened. Not the day of zero. They were like, it's zero. We are now on year one. Let's
Mainstream history says it was not really long after they kind of like started doing all of this.
Who?
I got to go back on look on it, but it like kind of acts like this was all kind of quickly formulated and the science of the time came together and powers that be were able to just join together and do this.
Yeah.
You know, like there were kings and there were, you know, things like that were going on. But at the same time, no, this is not to mention.
Still had your rulers of sort.
You call it the wrong time, Slim. Sorry.
Every time.
Yeah, at the same time, you have this time period of controversy where we think 300, 500 years just kind of may have disappeared. And they just kind of took that out of time.
The 0 to 500 disappeared, or is there another point in time where you're thinking 500
like
disappeared? I mean, this would be a great time to do it since nothing is technically, set in stone.
Yes. It's kind of like
manipulate whatever you need and want to.
The year... I don't know. Let's just pretend it's the year 1000. Let's pretend 1000.
Sure.
All right. And at that point in time, based on the kind of conspiracy, it was like, let's move the clock back and say it's the year 700. Okay. Well, now it's the year 700.
Who's going to fight you? Who's going to say that you're wrong?
No one knows shit.
The idea behind this whole thing is that this isn't for us. It's for the future. This isn't for the people that are existing now. It's for everyone that's going to exist in the future. Once you start indoctrinating this idea and cultivating these things, you're building what's going to take place in the future. So like everyone on the planet at that point, when they decided that it was now a couple hundred years that were just gone, no one knew. No one even cared. They were like, I don't even know what a year is, dude.
Yes.
Literally have no idea.
I don't know what your year is. It doesn't mean anything.
Doesn't mean anything to me. I'm
kids
trying to survive.
Yeah. Can my kids eat tonight?
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up and get out of my face.
And that, in my opinion,
go take your years and go have fun with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and they did.
They did. They were like,
took a whole couple.
Don't you worry.
Little did they know back then. We'll be studying the shit out of them.
Yeah, we look back now and we're like, damn it, farmer, just trying to survive. I don't blame you, but damn it, But like, yeah, how easy would that have been? That would be super easy. So like that conspiracy has very little behind it, but at the same time, to me, I'm like, kind of has a lot comparatively in my logical brain of thing.
I'm curious what you think, or when you think day zero or year zero was. Did it happen as soon as Jesus died? As soon as that whole thing happened? Did they just decide it was year zero? Or does our conspiracy theory sound pretty logical? To me, it sounds pretty logical.
I think it sounds logical. Sorry.
And the Vatican would have had a great time being able to solidify itself back then too. I mean, easily, probably very easily. Shaking hands,
erase shit, adjust the timeline how you want it, solidify your power, consolidate all the artifacts. Just don't acknowledge shit because I'm sure there's probably other historical content somewhere that we're saying otherwise, like all these missing years that we would be like, whoa, where'd all this shit come from?
Yeah.
Well, we've burned all of like we've lost all the main libraries and stuff like that have all those ancient texts that are not Vatican based. They're all like, Middle Eastern shit and stuff. Yeah.
I didn't think about the destruction of things they might not want anyone to know about or have. I don't know how often they would have done that.
There's too many instances where famous libraries of information poof, all of it.
Oh.
And nothing came back. You know, it's like the Library of Alexandria or whatever, and then there's like all these like famous people who accumulated a bunch of fucking information, and then suddenly it's like, oh, it all just burned down.
It's just gone.
It just burned all of it. And they're like, well, how many things? They had 1 million ancient scrolls, and you're like, no one got one scroll out. Yeah, it burned down so fast. Everybody who went in died too.
All the scrolls gone.
All
done.
I don't really. I'm making up these numbers, by the way. This is totally fabricated numbers, but the sentiment is there. The sentiment is there. Like this happened in a bunch of forms that like we just keep seemingly losing a lot of our ancient history and information.
Yeah. Again, controlling that narrative is, I don't know who decided that was a good idea or who decided they wanted to. I'm sure a lot of people in power wanted to control a narrative, but it had to come from somewhere. It had to originate from somewhere of like, ooh, let's control this over a period of time. And I think the Vatican thought of it first. And they were like,
I don't think they thought of it first.
Who do you think thought of it first?
I think this is the everlasting
gobstopper.
Damn, that was good. I even thought it in my head, dude. I legit was like, I'm about to say it, and I didn't know. Why am I doing? And then you said, I was like, oh.
You're welcome.
Damn. I'm the sidekick.
We need one on our table now.
I'm the sidekick, but you're the sidekick. Oh.
I like it.
I did it dirty.
But do you remember what you were saying?
Oh, shit.
The everlasting not stopper.
You stopped me.
No, I didn't mean to.
You totally. What were we actually talking about in the context?
I don't know, the Vatican.
Yeah.
And how and how they're controlling everything, the narrative. Oh,
they weren't the
first.
They weren't the first.
Yeah.
This is the everlasting battle, you jerk. It's a battle.
There it is.
Of good versus evil.
I knew it the whole time.
Damn. And so all they are doing is just trying to battle each other, and they've manipulated shit over time. They've infiltrated things. You know, this is just part of the game. So I think they've just managed to pull shit off in a sense that they can change the time and warp out what they don't want. Look at the Roman Crusades. The Roman Crusades were essentially paid for by the Catholic Church and the Vatican to go and invade. I forgot the place that they invaded and go. You know, there's all these debates on what they did and what they got, but they clearly took a bunch of ancient artifacts.
Okay, was that their job? That's what the Vatican sent them to do, was to collect.
Well, it was to
the collectors.
It started off as like the Crusades, the Crusaders, and all of that started off as like protectors of the Silk Road-esque place that was going on back then. A lot of people who were Christian were being abused apparently, and they were there to protect them and help them along their journey and kind of help take them along the journey.
He said, no, I need this religion to get off the ground. Y'all go protect those.
It's where one of the first banking systems formed.
Where?
Along the Crusades could have.
JP Morgan wasn't involved with that?
He came so much later. He didn't, you give him, I'm sure he's part of the ancestry of this shit, okay?
Could you, right?
Like
he's kept going.
He's from something of this. But anyways, long story short, at some point in time along this journey, is there someone down here or did they upstairs?
Upstairs.
I couldn't tell. That was weird. The Vatican or the Catholic Church, it's kind of a little shrouded in mystery, in my opinion, wanted to get back artifacts or stop the rise or the continuation in the migration of the Muslim faith. There's a lot of conspiracy around why it was actually done, but the Crusaders went in and they pillaged this city. There was a couple of Crusades, there was like 3 of them that ended up taking place in overtime. And they essentially like destroyed this city and they took everything from them. And the city was said to have had ancient artifacts like the Ark of the Covenant type level shit.
So you're saying that the Vatican became a collector of ancient artifacts and sent out his goons to go get it?
The Vatican has never really been challenged for power ever since.
From the Crusades, because
that's like after that, the
Vatican is a they, it's an entity.
The Christian faith, the Catholic Church, the Vatican.
He built an army.
This all,
and that army then built upon itself.
They say that the Crusades, I'm pretty sure, dang it, I want to make sure of this. I have to go look it up, but I'm pretty sure that the Crusades turned into the Illuminati. That they had to disperse out eventually because they were being hunted and it was turning into a darker side of things over time.
Whoa.
And so they had to become hidden. And in that hidden kind of time, the Illuminati appeared. And
that, you know,
these people would have had
Change your name.
knowledge. They would have had they would have seen things then. They would know shit.
in my opinion, the Vatican spawns from a bunch of these different Illuminati-esque entities spawn from the Vatican versus them just being completely separate entities. Like, it feels too close to home for them to spawn off into the Illuminati.
They're all too closely related.
All of them.
It's too,
And
yeah,
their focus is all set in the same end goal.
yeah.
If you look deep into it.
It's weird. I don't know how far that really goes. I don't
think
know
it
how
goes-
much credible. It's like one of those things where the Vatican to me has muddied the waters for so many centuries
Bro. Like,
that you can't possibly know.
no. And like that was a big goal of theirs, you know? Like,
Oh, they did a great job. Look, man, a lot of, I'm sure what the CIA does today is probably based on what the Vatican's been doing. They're the real ancient government.
The CIA.
The CIA.
the
no,
letters
Vatican.
that don't exist.
No, the vat of a can.
The Vatican.
I think those
Sounds like sardines.
those sardines. They've been really controlling shit,
I think so.
and everybody else just has pseudo power. I think the tides have turned, and that's why you see an American Pope suddenly appear for the first time ever
Yeah, what's that about?
in 2,000 years.
Enlighten me, good sir.
I think you have a non-deep look. You can say Trump is Illuminati or whatever. I don't really care. He's not the deep state politician, which disrupts the whole power and balance of it all at that level of nations and governments. And so now you have like a total disruption, and it's like no one knows what to do. In the 4 years that he was, I don't care about whether he was a good president or not. I'm only talking about just like facts. In the 4 years that he was president the first time, there was no new wars globally that took place for the first time in my lifetime of presidents. He was the only president that started nothing new, and nobody else fucked around either.
Why do you think that is?
Because they actually do fear him. I think they really do. It's like, that motherfucker actually may come and just rocket me down and like drone me to death.
Well, and that's the thing.
Biden's not doing shit.
He
dude.
is one that will do stuff. You can see it. He takes action. He is a very heavy, like, hey, I'm going to do this. And he does it.
Correct.
Like, and yeah, you piss him off the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I've got one of the biggest armies that you could conjure up. So.
Like the way he said it about the North Korean thing or whatever. He was like, he I got on the phone with him, and little rocket man told me I've got a little red button here I can press at any time, and I told him I've got the same button, but mine is much bigger than yours. And I'm like, dude, that's,
he said that?
Yeah.
That was the comment?
yes, that is something Trump said. You know,
hilarious. Oh my God.
That's just who he and when you don't play the political game everybody's been playing, even Putin stops and was like, I don't think I'm going to invade Ukraine until he gets kicked out, Biden goes in, then I'll invade. And that's what happened.
Interesting.
It only happened after Trump went out.
So
then all these Israel and the Hamas thing, all of that began once Trump left office. I'm not saying he's a savior. I'm not saying he's great. I'm just saying that's what happened.
do you think he's tied to the Vatican himself?
He does these things with his hands, man.
Those could be mudras. I don't know.
A lot of the things that I see that they do.
I'll sit like this.
I know
a lot of times, or this.
But like he's been shown to do different things that could be.
This is Jim Carrey on, like that, whatever that is. You're showing something. You're not just whatever he was doing. He was trying to enlighten people on
correct,
the Illuminati,
and that's for sure going on. And I don't know how much of Trump is doing that, or I'm just overreading it, and I never looked too much into it.
You don't know. It's hard to say.
I'm not saying he's a savior. He could be a dark horse. But I just know the people who have been running shit are dark horses.
Yep.
And now we're all, apparently society got pissed off and said, I don't really give a shit if that guy is dark horse. We're going a different direction with this. And so that power disruption, I think, has changed the power disruption globally, and the Vatican got involved with it. And now you see an American president because they're trying to play politics. Why did they become a sovereign nation when they did? Why do you have an American pope when you do? It's always geopolitical shit going on that are involved with that. America's a fucking dark horse right now because we can do whatever we fucking want because we're the biggest, baddest boys on the block.
Terrifying.
And we've got a president sitting at the helm that can do whatever he wants.
That will do whatever he wants.
Will happily do it if he wants.
Let's go.
And we're teetering on an economic edge, and that's not good. The worst thing you can have, though, and this is like historical, evidence of this, is a very young male population that are single and alone.
Is that what we have?
We're growing in that. China has that.
Oh, why is that
bad? China's got it bad. China got it real bad.
Why is that bad? You're saying that's a bad thing?
It's a really bad thing.
What?
Every time that happens, you have a revolution or a war.
Why?
Too many male, too young, not believing they have a future is a really bad indicator for what's coming. Every time you see it in history build up that way, it'll hit a peak and you'll see a revolution take place. Those males, those young men grow in number too high and they truly don't believe they have a future.
And they have nothing to lose at that point.
They got nothing to fucking lose, and they're young and they're fucking angry and they just want to go beat shit up and kill things.
Whoa.
You hit 30, 35, 40. Yeah, dude, I'll just fucking chill over here, man.
And that becomes a revolution?
The French Revolution. That's like a giant, massive portion of what started to really take place there. I'm not saying that's the only factor. There's a ton of factors, but that's a huge one that took place. And then they just start storming shit. They just ransacked that fucking palace and killed everybody and raped and started murdering, cut off heads. I mean, just name it, dude. They just walked straight up in that place and just started picking people out of their rooms and walking off with them.
How are we doing in the United States?
We're not doing bad. We have just, it's like we have a lot of turmoil going on.
I'm single. So
we have a really bad problem with young, like on Tinder. Like 20% of the women.
Today's sponsor.
Yeah, no shit, right? That's not You want to sponsor us? Wait, hold on.
No, thank you.
Oh, damn.
Bumble.
I'm just trying to get some money, guys. Okay?
Wait, what's the new one? Hinge?
Dude, I'm so far out of it now. I've been with my wife for 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I don't even use them. I've been single for so long that I'm just like,
you're done with that shit.
I'm done with them.
Yeah, it'll happen when it happens.
Yeah.
I stopped looking and stopped trying, and suddenly I just my wife fell into my life.
Yum. Love it.
Oh, it sounds like I got really lucky.
Cheese and crackers situation,
It was like peanut butter
and jelly.
My favorite. Anyways, moving on now. I don't know really where we were in that subject because you keep doing this.
I can't help it. Okay.
I think the Vatican's at the center of a lot of this power, and they're losing it right now.
Do you think that's why they're doing these things, these little things? Do you think they're playing the political game so that they can play a deeper game?
Yeah, maybe longevity.
Yes, longevity. But I'm thinking sowing seeds right now, in the shadows, while they're having all the attention on this American Pope. Do you think there's hey, look here, so we can do things over here and you're not looking? I
think that's always going on, first off.
Yes.
To some degree. Right. I just want to call that out. I think that's always going on to some degree. If you think they're going to lay down and just die, get the fuck out of here. No, they're not doing that.
It's sown so deep that no.
They'll make you think they're dead while they're about to gut you from behind.
And that's the idea behind if one of their spin-off corrupt things like the Illuminati and stuff like that, if that dies, it didn't die. It just They stopped calling it that, and they'll spawn something else up and call it something else.
Correct.
And I'm like, hey, we're back.
They're
but
playing
you don't know.
so many.
That's how you stay alive for as long as you have.
Yeah.
With how much dark shit that you do.
You know, like these families and these popes and cardinals and, you know, like, look, man, I don't care if you're the pope. If someone has more money than the pope, well, then the pope should be kind of concerned. Like, in the end, I don't care how much power you have. It's always teetering on the edge of someone else gaining more power than you. No matter who you are. Trump's probably got the most power right now. But that's limited. He only has another, 3 years of that he's allowed to even have of it.
Right.
And then that's backed on the economy of America and how well we do. And that no one else suddenly decides to just stop using the dollar, go over and create a whole new monetary system and start using that system. And then we lose that control, which is what JP Morgan had set up. You know, like that becomes so like that everybody has momentary power on that global stage. Right. Trump's got it right now. Vatican needed to gain some power back.
And therefore American Pope?
American Pope.
So do you think
that's my conspiracy theory, okay?
A purposeful what do you call it when you bring on a new pope? Was it on purpose to have gotten an American Pope? Did they?
Now, whether they offed anybody to have it done now, I don't know.
What do you mean? How do you become an American Pope? I'd love to know.
You have to be like chosen.
The chosen one.
Like the Cardinals or somebody like vote you in or some shit like
those
that.
Birds?
Yeah, the birds.
The 12 birds, they go cheep, 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 cheep. They go find you wherever you are, like start pecking your eyeballs out. They're like,
do you really think they're birds?
Absolutely. Little red, beautiful birds.
Or not. Irrelevant. These birds decide, I'm pretty sure, we should look this up on the specifications on how you become Pope, but I know that he knew he was in the running, but didn't know if he was going to be the Pope or not.
How do you get in the running of being a Pope?
You got to be like cardinal level shit.
Okay.
You know?
So you're already within the whole realm
just
of
over
the
here.
Vatican.
I mean, they're all every church in the Christian faith that you see, there's a lineage that the Vatican is tied to them and helping fund that and put them in that position. So if that at some point when they get moved to another church, they're going to get moved because the powers that be has wanted to shift things. And there's just like regional cardinals are just like that band of high level. They're not popes, but they're not priests.
They're somewhere in the middle.
We're governmental board of the religion.
Priests are that high on the list?
Cardinals.
You were saying they're not popes, they're not priests. You're like putting them. Yeah. You're putting priests pretty high on that list.
I would say like there's that below cardinal priests other thing. I don't know what you call all of them. I'm just calling them priests as a blanket.
Okay.
And then I would say that then there would be a cardinal level, and then there would be the Pope. And so like it kind of that's kind of how it tiers in my head to some degree. And I know there's other tiers below that are expanded out in the priest level, okay? And I'm sorry, people, that I don't know all of that shit, but that you got to go up the ranks. You got to do the things. You got to pay your dues. Sure. You got to go be the priest for a while, go be whatever, and then get to that cardinal level and have the ropes and the capes and shit, you know?
Thank you for explaining that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. There's not a lot of detail things that I know about the Vatican. I mean, literally just a month ago, I thought the Vatican was the Pope. So
God, that's awesome. And they, you know, look, man, this is kind of by design. I don't even fully know everything. And it's like every time I look into it, I find out whole new shit. Like 1929 being a sovereign nation and all the little things that are going on. So like you can't ever know. And I'm just a weird asshole who goes digging into shit. So
it goes so deep. It's like they do this on purpose to where something happens and they just like brush it under the rug real fast. They're like, man, no one needs to know that happened.
We'll change. We'll eliminate those 300 years if we have to. We will remove those books from the Bible. We will lie. We will steal. We will cheat.
They are, in my opinion, the curators of our timeline of this 2,000 years. They have had such heavy hands inside of those years. And we are where we are, in my opinion, because they wanted it to be that way.
I keep talking about J.P. Morgan in the 1920, early 20s shift, or the 1900s, early 1900s shift. I think that's a baby to what the Vatican did. There was a shift. They were the shift, but we're talking about a global shift at a level is deeper, way deeper than J.P. Morgan ever could have pulled off. Because you would have to start a global religion that takes over and you have power over the whole thing. He did do the monetary system. I mean, he pretty much took over the monetary system. So he got really damn close. But Vatican's got like spiritual power, dude.
You mentioned J.P. Morgan had meetings with Vatican, right?
Yeah, and I think he was well connected with them at some point. I have not gone into this. I just know that all of those families all kept meeting in Italy and had ties and things with them. So like I know he's there. It's just I gotta find the ties.
Again, right around the time they became their sovereign nation they are today.
Yes.
All of that, like
the
there
amount
was
of
so
shit.
much going on in the early 1900s, like the 1920s, 30s, like heavy things.
Yeah.
Changed.
1929, they become a sovereign nation. By 1935, Nazi Germany and everybody else had already picked up 440 hertz as the standard pitch. So within 5-6 years,
wow, that was so fast.
Everything happens during this time period. 1900 to 1930 is like the foundation of all of the indoctrination and lies and misdirection and change. It's like we were about to get there. 1930, Great Depression, wars, everything's chaos. We never get there.
Do you see the futuristic shows or movies where they have flying cars and things and like really futuristic tech, but it all looks like it's in the 50s, 40s, and 30s and stuff? That is exactly what would have happened had none of that taken place. Like all that control and chaos that took place during those 20, 30 years. Dude, we would be in such a crazy, cool utopia right now. Yeah, sure, bad things still happen, but like the amount of free things that we would be able to do, like free energy for one, but like what would have come from that? Oh my God, I can only imagine.
This is sad and funny to me. When I watched the Back to the Future, he went to the future and it's the year 2015. Okay?
10 years ago?
Dude. Yeah. And I remember thinking at the time, like, could we really have flying cars? Like when I saw the movie. And, the older I got, I kept thinking, the more I studied everything, I was like, we can't. Like, why would this is so inefficient? This seems so bad. Now that I've gotten to this point, I'm like, oh my God, we should have been there in like 1930.
Oh my God. Well, thinking about it now, like how to actually create a flying car.
Yeah.
Frequency manipulation for one, sound and
gravity manipulation.
Yeah. Would that be what it is? And
this would be so simple to me. Based on how we would want to manipulate gravity and how you'd want to create this today, it's like, oh shit, dude, this seems like it would actually be like super. Again, why don't you want free energy out? Because of that right there. There it is.
Yep.
Popped.
God.
So yeah, I feel like you could have done this a long time ago. I feel like too. I think Tesla was already on the trail of designing.
He probably had flying car patents somewhere in his basement that he was ready to start showing.
I want to say there's a patent for a flying magnetic device. And I should probably look at it while you talk for a minute, because I really do think I have it. But he talked about this too. And I do think that if you commercialize the technology and everybody knew how to do it, then you could then produce these gravity effects on a really efficiently small scale. Now you can have personalized versions of this. Where it's crazy. Like just your car, like you fly alone. You're just flying by yourself, like a jetpack type idea. Well, yeah, why can't you do any of this?
What about mag boots? I want some mag boots, dog.
Mag boots for sure, dude. Teleportation, portals. Teleportals?
They saw the rabbit hole we were about to go down and all the things that we were about to start inventing and creating. they were like, no, not only do we not want free energy that we can't charge for, but think about all the other things that would have come from this.
I want to know what it feels like to go through the portal.
I bet you don't even. Do you think you feel stuff?
I don't know if it's so fast you don't. This is entanglement. You've entangled 2 points in space.
Do you
and so you're going into the black hole.
And then come back together?
Well, all right, so here's the weird part to me. I think about the science behind this. What would happen in my head? You would follow the path of space. You already do that. So your body would just get warped with the space as you went through the hole. And now whether your brain just and all your matter and all the stuff making up of you just follows the space and the warping doesn't really matter because you're all just following space. Or does the warping fuck all your shit up and you come out the next time and you're like, I don't know, dude.
I would assume not, because then we wouldn't use it. Do you think it looks like apparition in Harry Potter where they're just like, you know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, yeah.
Like the apparition look?
Yeah.
I can imagine that being somewhat similar to it.
You know, like the way they do that shit. I think it's a black hole and it's very fast. And I do think that video where they show the 3 orbs around, I said the word, around the plane, the Malaysian air flight.
Yeah, right.
They got leaked out and they start flying around.
Little balls.
And then it just, you know, and it's like, I mean, they created a little portal.
Those little balls are very interesting on their own, but it seems like they're, again, multifaceted device that can do things like teleportation, time travel, or whatever they did to the Malaysia flight.
Look at the universe. The universe is everything's round out there.
Yeah.
So make a round ball and they can do a lot of shit, I'm sure. I don't know what those damn things can do. But
how heavy do you think they are?
You know what? I bet they're probably super light.
That would be crazy, but you're probably right.
They're probably not as heavy. They're like...
Pick it up. You're like...
And like the guy who apparently found Roswell, the wreckage at Roswell.
Yeah.
You know, back in like the 40s or whatever. He claimed in a video that he picked it up and it could like crinkle, but like right back to where it was. And he said it was so strong a sledgehammer couldn't dent it.
But it could.
But it could just
it was
like
malleable. Is that the word?
Yeah, it was like malleable, like tinfoil, but right back to where it originally stated.
Organic material of a metal that we do not know of.
That can like more. Hey, does this not sound like our moon?
Crazy.
That molds and moves.
And it's just the perfect diameter, the perfect shape that we need it to be. Yeah. Because it is not a rock. It is not a little pebble rock that we see all these other moons looking like.
No.
It is an organism. It is this spherical ball that we call an orb.
There's a weird... Think about this for a second. I'm going down Fringe Road, okay? This part's true. We do know that the youngest rock on the moon is the deepest rock, and the oldest is the top.
It's so weird.
That's the reverse of the Earth.
How does that work?
Okay. If you're right...
Which I always am.
Duh.
I'm a Gemini.
The deepest skin layers are the newest.
And this is the oldest out here, right?
Correct.
Organic material.
And if it's organic, then it's shedding outward. Right?
That would mean its little moon dust is a part, like it's actually a part of it versus it being...
It would have to be. To some degree.
Right.
It's full of water. We know that.
What is the
moon, the moon surface?
Is it?
It's got a ton of water in the rocks.
Oh.
So they're magnetic, they're water content. Like,
I love that.
Huh.
This seems very interesting and very up my alley of theory that I've conjured up.
I wonder. Vatican. Hiding it.
Under the 50 miles. He's hiding.
They know the truth. They know.
Yep.
Yeah, very true.
We get closer and closer to the real truth of the moon, dude. Someone's gonna be banging on our door. And it's not gonna be Salim.
God, what? He's probably outside that door just waiting for us to say something bad about him.
Probably.
Oh, man, dude! No way! Were you
waiting on the door to bust in?
Tell me you were actually just sitting there waiting. That.
Yeah, I did kind of like lean in. I was like, all right, I hope they're done.
Did you hear something?
No.
Are you serious?
Did not hear nothing.
We all rolling?
We're still going.
We're in the midst of rolling right now, but he was like, Slim's, about to bust in right now. And I was like, yeah, Slim's probably like standing right there at that door, like listening for me to say something. And I'm like, I hate you, Slim. And you busted in right then, dude. And I thought, wait, weird, dude. Weird at best.
If you're listening to the podcast of this, I am terribly sorry. You have no idea what's going on. You that's watching the video.
How strange, dude.
Hilarious.
I'm weirded out by that. Okay, well.
I love it.
I don't even know what to say anymore now.
Yeah, our place is lost. Our buddy's here.
And now I'm like, that just weirded me out.
I hope you enjoyed our little tangent of the moon.
Pull that timing off.
I'm just
damn.
If you like this kind of content and want to see more, please follow along. We have a YouTube channel, a TikTok channel, a Spotify, Apple Music, and probably nothing else that you can think of. Those are the main ones that we have. If you like it, The Awakening 101, go find it. It's out there. Actually, it's just Awakening 101. There is no the.
I'm starting to eliminate that too. I'm like,
there is no the.
Yeah, there's no the. Just Awakening.
It's great. Also, hit us up. Comment. We love that shit.
Yeah, I'm going to end up commenting back.
He will. He really will.
I'll argue the shit out of you.
Yeah. We appreciate you being here. Chaz definitely appreciates it.
I do. Thanks for listening to my crackpot shit.
Yeah. We'll see you next time. And you'll hear us next time. Because we are Awakening 101.
We got banned again. Wake up.
God, we're always getting banned these days, aren't we?
Banned.
I swear, if we get banned our entire TikTok page, I'm going to throw a hissy fit and then make another one. And try to get banned even faster.
That's all you'll be able to.
Dude, we've gotten banned for so much stuff. We got banned on live. Our live stream got banned.
Yeah. We were live for a week.
An entire week.
We were talking about the orbs.